Hello and welcome to the Planet Beer TV speed dating sessions from the backstage at Rivington Farm Trip 2024.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Paul, what are we doing today?
This place, Chris, is packed to the rafters with quality breweries, so we thought we'd take the opportunity to get to know as many of them as we possibly can.
Yeah, so we're going to do quick 15-minute sessions where we're going to ask them questions, a bit like speed dating.
Yeah, a bit like speed dating.
So we can ask them like, who are you? What do you do? How much money are you on?
What's your relationship like with your parents?
Will you marry me?
That kind of thing.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends who comes in.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of breweries to get through, plenty of content. So today, who we got, Paul?
Today's brewery is...
Pillars.
We're here with Omar from Pillars.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
So you were on our list of targets because you specialise in a certain type of beer, which we'll get into. But yeah, tell us about yourself. Where'd you come from? Explain yourself, Omar.
So yeah, my name's Omar Razak. I'm the operations director of Pillars Brewery. We were established in October 2016.
Okay.
And we specialise in lager. So that's all we do. That's all we care about. I think as a style, it needs all of your focus. That's very much what we're about.
That's very true. I mean, we kind of have this thing with lagers, haven't we? Because it's a style which craft breweries, but crafties, they shunned it a lot in the early days of craft
I remember.
beer. Yeah, and it's like, oh, you're drinking lager. Oh, that's a bit macro, isn't it? But now actually everyone's kind of almost hopped out. I mean, there's still obviously a lot of appetite for the hoppy stuff, but lager is actually now, it's having a resurgence.
It's almost joking to become the craft brewer's drink of choice, I think.
Yeah. And I think you touched on it just now, is that people were macroed out, I think you just said. And when we started, and certainly when we were developing the idea and what we wanted to become, we said, well, where can I find a good lager? Like, I always knew I liked lager. I just didn't really like the lagers I was drinking.
Yeah.
And so it felt like a very clear path for us in a time in 2016 when we started, very much in a time where really hoppy beers were out there. There were loads of great breweries with loads of experience. We didn't have a lot, but we knew exactly what we wanted to do.
Yeah. I mean, we've asked you to bring along a beer which is either exciting for you or a beer which best shows you off. So
Yes.
what have you bought? What are we drinking here?
So, well, I've bought two beers.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
We like you.
The one we're drinking is our original pale lager. So it's an IPL style. It's a Pilsner base, and it's been dry hopped.
So, I mean, it's exactly what this weather demands.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, we've drank a few bigger beers already today. It's like 3:00 now. Time's lost all meaning, Omar. And even an Imperial Stout. So this is a much needed reverse, which is great. So yeah, and that's banging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, tell us about an IPL. I mean,
it's quite a niche style, despite how much lager there is about. Some people have tried making IPLs. We've also made an IPL, but I think it's possibly one of those styles that hasn't quite cut through to the mainstream. We make it because we're a lager brewery, and we like using hops, and so creating a drink like this still fits our mold. Now, we're very much known for our Helles and our Pilsner styles, but for us, this is something that says, well, do you know what, lager can taste great. It isn't just that one or two specific styles or more. It can be pretty much it can be quite a few different styles.
It was quite funny yesterday when we bumped into you in the tap room. So we were at the tap room bar, weren't we, at Rivy, and we noticed that your beer was on there, and I was like, oh, Pillars Hells. So while we're chatting to you, like, you know what,
let's do it.
It'd be rude not to try one of your beers right now. So we all kind of went in, had a pour of the Hells, and then immediately you guys sort of sipped it, and then you both like looked at each other and you're like, and you're like, I don't know, that's not our Hells. That's not our Hells. Yeah. And you're like, excuse me, behind the bar. Can you check that?
We said it very politely.
Yeah. I mean, you did. Yeah.
I remember kicking off. There was bar stools flying, and glasses smashing.
What was the outcome of that? I mean, what was it?
It was this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't the Hells. It was this.
No, it was the first drink of the day, so it was a little bit confusing. However, it definitely wasn't.
I mean, fair play though. I mean, you literally within a second of trying it, you went wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was quite funny because like I didn't quite know what to say because we drank it and we were like, yeah, good job, and you were like, nah. And at this point, I was like, I don't know if they're just thinking it's not even like our beer, like it's another brewery's,
yeah.
or it's just not the one.
Oh, look at these two fucking idiots.
Yeah. It was like, they're drinking Carlsberg. No, that would never.
Which they do have on at Rivington.
Tell us a little bit about the Walthamstow scene because obviously there's around there's things happening.
Yeah, Walthamstow's a fantastic place. So just in our little estate, we've got another brewery tap room, Wildcard, and they have their barrel aged store there. There's next door to us, there's the Real Ale cider distributor, and they have their own tap room as well.
Okay, cool.
Opposite, there's Mother's Ruin Gin Palace.
Mother's Ruin.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Love it.
And there's also a place called God's Own Junkyard, which is probably worth a mention because it's like the biggest neon sign manufacturer in Europe.
I mean,
but
this is why people listen to this. It's for those nuggets.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a tourist attraction in its own right because they film stuff in there all the time. So you probably will have seen the insides of that without knowing. You have. Yeah.
I mean, what a name, God's Own Junkyard.
Yeah,
Awesome,
It's
mate.
a brilliant name.
It's really cool.
But you've got, I think, because we're going down to Walthamstow to a festival in a few weeks, and just a cursory look at the maps. Yeah, Wildcard, Exhale, I think, are down there. Signature.
Yeah, and that's the other side. Sorry, I didn't even come on to that.
Yeah. I mean, but it literally, as I went onto Google Maps and bloody hell.
Yeah.
Look how much stuff's
we
there.
don't need to worry. Yeah.
We've got a fantastic beer scene there, and it's great, and it's Walthamstow's a place that really embraces locality. It's got real community spirit, which I think a lot of people say, but Walthamstow genuinely has it. I don't know. There was obviously we had the issues with the riots a few weeks back, and Walthamstow had one of the biggest counter demonstrations in the country. It was incredible.
Awesome.
It's one hell of a place. So yeah, and they're really supportive of all.
I mean, that's probably the legacy of E17, though, right?
Yeah. And they've stopped. Well, they always used to come and do the sing for the Christmas light switch on.
Really?
But the council have stopped turning on the Christmas lights, so they don't come anymore.
Well, they've run out of members now.
Has Brian Harvey ever been in the brewery?
No, I don't believe so. I'm sure I'd know if he had.
I mean, let's not forget this is a man who actually ran himself over in his own car.
Run over by his own car.
I've been told there's a plaque with that on his house. It's like, the blue plaque. I can't verify it, but that's what I heard.
I thought you had to be dead to have a blue plaque for like a number of years.
Has anyone checked on him?
I don't know.
Well, there we go.
Sorry,
He's
not
alive, isn't
verified.
This is taking a dark turn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it falls into the mould of Walthamstow. So.
Can't believe Brian Harvey's died. Right, so moving on. Of course, throwing me.
Yeah,
I'm now thinking of Brian Harvey.
These 17 songs. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the beer that you've also got lined up here.
Yes.
That was professionally done, by the way. Start
Hey.
talking about this.
Hey, man, do you work in sales?
So the other beer I bought is our Eisbocks, which is if you ask me about a beer that I don't know it's basically for us it's a labour of love. It's also something we do every year where we feel we're going to break our equipment, and I'll come on to that in a moment. It takes forever to label, to wax, as the brewers have. I think I haven't got the latest version. I should have bought that, but that's still conditioning. But they've labelled the 2024 edition just now, and that's going to condition till Christmas.
Oh wow!
This spends basically we've got one tank for. Yes, sorry, yeah.
That's cool.
I'll go basically to go into the style. Eisbocks. There's a few different myths about it.
I was just going to say, can you clarify Eisbocks? Because
it's a doppelbock that's been ice conditioned essentially, and the my favourite tale about this is that when they were being brewed hundreds of years ago, the brewer these were in casks outside, kept outside in Bavaria, where it was getting to ridiculous minus temperatures at night. They were making doppelbocks. They come and try it. One day, brewers tried it and gone, "Wow, what is that?" And they've opened it up to have a look inside, and it's partially frozen. And essentially, Eisbocks. We've written it the English way, ICE, but they're known as EIS.
EIS, yeah. Is it Icelandic, or is that just a style from the? I don't know. Is it north?
Yeah, I think it's regionally around that. I thought it was like a Bavarian
Arctic Circle is a bit.
Yeah.
So you mentioned this is a bit of a labour of love by the sound of it. It sounds like a pain in the arse, Omar, if I'm honest with you.
It is. But for us, we are showcasing lager in the most absurd way, because most people look at that and they go, "That's too dark. it's too strong. That is not a lager. And we say to them, well, it is a lager.
Yeah.
And we get to talk about it. Kind of just brings up that whole conversation about what lager can be.
Interesting. You say that actually. So we have this discussion quite a lot. If it's not me and Chris, it's me and my wife. We talk about what makes a lager a lager. I mean, is lagering what makes lager a lager, or actually we just way past that and we have to define it in what is the taste and the obvious qualities of what we expect to be a lager. Yeah.
I think lager
the
is
Baltic Porter's lagered.
Yeah. I think lager as a category is the sort of the headline is it's made with lager yeast, and so it's bottom fermenting. And then when you get into style specifics, I guess then you then get into the nitty gritty of what defines that flavour profile. But lager as a category, if it's bottom fermenting lager yeast, then it's a lager, and that's why it can be so broad.
Yeah. Because there's this whole thing that we've talked before on the podcast where we mentioned about doing something, and a Kolsch isn't bottom fermented, is it?
No.
Or no. But Kolsch you'd still say is a lager, but apparently it's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know, but we see a lot of Kolsch's masquerading as lagers,
Yes.
and certainly from my point of view as a lager specialist, I would never call them a lager personally.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're like Schrodinger's lager.
I'm just gonna agree with Omar there, Chris. Cause
I think we've had the discussion. I was
opinion.
like, well, everyone
that's
says
from an
that it's a
expert.
lager. Everyone says it's a lager.
Now stop going on about
Yes.
fucking culture for a minute, right? So I guess as lager specialists, as you say, and you brew specifically lager style beers.
Yeah.
It must be really interesting to see how far you can stretch the definition of that. Because, I mean, Eisbocks are a pretty unusual style in the grand scheme of things. And by the way, I can't wait to taste this. And the reason we're not drinking this is because Omar said, it's been sat in his car, it's not ready, refrigerate it, you absolute cretins.
Can we take this and do a video on it?
Yeah.
Because
absolutely. I've got a couple, so I can bring another one.
We've got like a thing called, we started riffing a new thing like called Styles in Focus, where we talk about different styles of beer that perhaps are like lesser known, but just Eisbock is actually a really interesting. Yeah.
So I was going to say, well done for like stopping us from ruining your products by stupid pouring methods. So,
well, the reason why I love this beer particularly is, as I'm not one of the brewers, the bit that's always been the labour of love for me, I guess, is the sense that we stretch our equipment to its limits to make this beer. So we don't live in an environment where we can rely on outside temperatures to maybe partially freeze, as was believed to be the origins of this beer. So what we do is we turn our glycol system as cold as it can possibly go, and we slam.
Is there needles doing this?
Something like that. There's a lot of knees doing this, and we slam a tank with very cold glycol and then we cross our fingers, and with all the calculations in the world, we don't quite have the ability to know exactly when we should stop. So there's a lot of waiting, hoping, and obviously if we overfreeze it, over 2,000 litres, an over 2,000 litre ice block, it's going to take us a long time to thaw out. So yeah, it's that side of things for me is that's the bit that gets me.
Where'd you even get the ice block from? Where'd you get the ice from?
No. So you basically. Our fermenters are called using glycol. So that's what we do. So we're literally cooling it.
Yeah,
to get it to partially.
There's
freeze.
a thing. I remember.
This is why I shouldn't be drinking Eisbock at this time of day.
I know. Well, yeah, exactly. There was because when they started doing the. I don't want to mention the brewery really, but Brewdog, and there was that German brewery. When they were trying to get like the strongest beer in ABV,
yes,
they end up having to freeze distill it, don't they, to make it?
Which is it's the same kind of idea as this.
So, but it's like that. You end up needing to, if you want to kind of do something at those temperatures, you have to use like a really very specific type of kit, which I think is why Brewdog ended up doing it over in Germany with a brewery that did have that kind of freeze distilling method.
Yeah, so we weren't distilling, but we were just freezing. So essentially what you do is you freeze the water content, because water freezes first, and what you're left with is a higher ABV product, because what's left is of the same alcohol.
Yep.
Man,
so the concentration increases.
Science is cool.
But this is it, man. Like, no one really knew that lager could get that exciting.
No.
Yeah, or as cold.
But I've done the classic reversal. I used to hate lager when I was a younger person. We're from the Black Country, so it's all trad beer.
Yeah.
And then into craft beer, but I've just circled all the way back round to lager probably be my favourite beer, and I'm also very conscious of time here, so we're nearly wrapped up. But there's
Is this your first
question.
time at Farm Trip?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, how you find it, and how does this help a brewery like yourselves? How does it help?
Yeah, so we're building up a really good reputation down south, but coming here, meeting all these people that said I've never heard of you before, and don't get me wrong, we're still very small, so we still get that a lot. But here, it really feels like a lot of people never heard of us. We told a couple of people we've been going for almost 8 years now, and they're like, "No way, where have you been hiding?"
But the thing is that is kind of the thing also, I think, with the London scene as well, because I mean, you guys must exist in the same way as London exists in its own bubble anyway. I think also, there's
He's just doing his divide here.
doing my thing. I love the division. No, but it's you've got a nice scene where you are, and obviously there's a draw there because you've got breweries in the area. You've got Hackney the other way. You've got where you guys are in Walthamstow.
100%.
It's like you don't necessarily.
We don't need to, but
it's,
our mission is to make the very best lager in the country, and we can't just make that and then go, "Oh, here you go, London, that's for you." It's about reaching out to the whole country and doing that.
So one of the other things that we're kind of just finishing up on was about collabs and stuff. I mean, have you done any kind of like collab lagers? I mean, do you see that as much? I mean, I can't really think of many.
Yeah, that's a good question,
I can't really think of many beers that have been a lager, but collaboration.
We're doing one with Dos. I'll try and get the accent right. Dos Carvos, which is a Portuguese, one of the top craft brewery in Portugal.
Awesome.
Do something with them. We've because of the way we're set up, we're a brewery with a very small portfolio. We've just increased it to 4, but we started with 1 core beer, and we've just added a new core beer for the first time in 5 years. So we're not about a huge range.
No,
we do a seasonal special every couple of months, and that's kind of how we do things. Trying to feed in collaborations alongside that is quite challenging from a production perspective for us. So, but we do like the idea of it, and so we do the odd one here and there. But that's the one I can think of.
Okay, give us the pitch for the viewers then. So where can people get your beer, and where can we find you?
So you can get our beer. You'll find our beer in lots of really good, reputable London pubs around London, and starting to get out to the home counties and beyond. As you come further north, we work with a couple of like the Flatiron Steak restaurant group. So they've got like Leeds, Manchester, I think Liverpool as well.
That's going to help, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're on the menu at like Coke Brasserie as well, when they've got a restaurant in quite a few cities around the UK.
One of our sponsors is our local bottle shop, the Hop Vault in Stourbridge, and Mark, the owner of that, is literally the biggest lager
What a
fan.
fiend.
So I mean, maybe we can.
Yeah,
we'll put you in touch with him. Maybe you can get some up in independent stockists.
Yeah, and Cafe Beer Moth took a load of beer.
Lovely.
Yes, awesome. when they heard that we were coming up for this. So yeah, thank you.
Fantastic.
To them.
Yeah, I mean, great. Okay. Well, I mean, having had that, I mean, I can't wait to have that. We're going to fridge it. Yeah. But man, that was the beer that I didn't know that I needed.
That was so good, man. Yeah, I think I just need more lager now. But
we'll come down and visit you when we're down for the festival.
100%. Yeah, we'll be
coming
down at the end of September.
Middle of September.
Yeah, great.
Close enough.
Yeah,
dude. Thank you very much.
Thanks guys.
Omar.
Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Cheers.